Okay, so this is the second part of part 2 for Algebra I 7-2. So we're finishing up page 2 here. So all of these problems are not going to be worked exactly the same. Some of them will be like the problems we did in the example. Some of them will be more straightforward and simpler. For number 1, exercise number 1, for example. So it says at the end of the 2001 football season, 31 Super Bowl games had been played with the current 2 football leagues, the American Football Conference AFC and the National Football Conference NFC. The NFC won 5 more games than the AFC. How many games did each conference win? So we can still pull out our elements. So we know we have 31 Super Bowl games. $31 games in total. And we have the AFC and the NFC, if I remember that correctly. All right, so it says the NFC won 5 more games than the AFC. So we don't know how many games the AFC won. We can just put W. But we do know that the NFC won 5 more games than the AFC. So that would be however many they won plus 5. And we know the total number of games is 31 between the two. So we'll have W, which is the number of wins the AFC had, plus W plus 5, which is the number of wins the NFC had, and that equals to 31 wins total. So remember, like I said earlier in the previous video, when you have parentheses like this, and if there's not a negative in front of it, if there's a negative in front of it, then it's just like having -1, and you would distribute -1 and multiply that throughout. If there's not anything in front of it, it's just like this. It's like having a +1. So we need to distribute 1 throughout the parentheses. So we're left with W equals 1 times W, W plus 1 times W is W, 1 times +5 is +5, equals 31. Then we combine like terms. So we have +1W plus 1W. It's going to be 2W plus 5 equals 31. Then we subtract 5. And we're left with 2W equals 26. Divide by 2. And we're left with W equals 13. So W equals 13. So now we can plug that into our, I guess not equations, I guess these would be called expressions. We can plug this into our expressions up here. So if W equals 13, then that means this would be 13. So the number of AFC wins would be 13. And then we would have 13 plus 5 instead of W plus 5, which would be 18. So we have 13 wins for the AFC and 18 wins for the NFC. And of course, we can check our answer by doing 18 plus 13. Of course, you can do this in a calculator. Let's do that. So 18 plus 13 should be 31. And it is, so that is correct. All right, let's look at the next one. I would like you to, so for number 2, this is like the example problem we did where we have to pick out our elements and make 2 equations for each one. Make an equation for each one. So it says a lab needs to make 100 gallons of an 18% acid solution by mixing a 12% acid solution with a 20% solution. How many gallons of each solution are needed? So this is similar, very similar to our example problem. So we have the two elements are the amount that we need, and then also the percentage of acid that is in each amount. So let's make so we have a 12% solution, a 20% solution, and an 18% solution. We don't know how much of the 12% solution we need, so we can just represent that by X. And we don't know how much of the 20% solution we need, so we can represent that by Y. So let's write that. So we'll put amount of, what was it, 12%? Amount of 12% solution is equal to X, and the amount of 20% solution is equal to Y. So this would be the gallons, the number of gallons that we need. And then of course we know the amount of the 18% solution. Amount of 18% solution is 100 gallons, because that's our goal there. So the equation for this to represent the number of gallons would be, okay, so we have X plus Y equals 100, and that represents our gallons. So we can erase all this. Alright. So now our other equation is going to be the percent of acid. And we know that 1 was 12%, so that'll be 0.12x. 1 was 20%, so we can do 0.2y equals, I think it was 18%. 18% of the 100. Okay, so now we can do our system of equations. So let's make one of these. We have to change one of these, of course, so we can change this one. That'll be the easiest. X plus Y equals 100. We'll just do X. We'll solve for X this time. Just so you can see you can do either one. Subtract Y on both sides. So X equals 100 minus Y. So instead of this, we'll write X equals 100 minus Y. All right, so now we'll go ahead and do substitution. So we have 0.12 times X, and X is 100 minus Y, so we'll plug that in. And then we have plus 0.2Y equals 0.18 times 100 is going to be 18. So I'm going to just go ahead and write that for space sake, instead of rewriting the 0.18 times and then doing the math. Just went on ahead and did the math for it. So 0.18 times 100 is 18. So now we can distribute our 0.12. So we'll do 0.12 times 100 and 0.12 times negative Y. So 0.12 times 100 is going to be 12. 0.12 times negative Y is going to be negative 0.12Y. And then we have plus 0.2Y equals 18. Then we'll combine like terms. So negative 0.12 plus 0.2. So negative 0.12 plus 0.2 is going to be 0.08. I did that so wrong. All right, so that's going to be 0.08. So we have 12 plus 0.08y equals 18. And then we're going to subtract 12 from both sides. And we're left with 0.08y equals 6. And we divide by 0.08. And that's going to be y equals 75. So y is equal to 75. So now we can plug that into our other equation, or into our previous equation. So we had x equals 100 minus y, and y is 75, so minus 75. So x equals 25. So that means the 12% saline solution, we need 25 gallons, because the 12% saline solution we represented by x. So we need 25 gallons of the 12% saline solution. And of the 20% saline solution, which was represented by y, we need 75 gallons of it. All right, the last one. This one is going to be one of the more simpler ones as well. So it's just the perimeter of a triangle is 24 inches. So we can write that. So perimeter equals 24. And it says the longest side is 4 inches longer than the shortest side. So the longest side is 4 inches longer than the shortest side. So longest side can be represented by L, and we can say that shortest side can be represented by S. So it says, all right, so it said that the length was 4 inches longer than the shorter length. So we just represent shorter length by S. So whatever the shorter length is plus 4 inches. And then it says the shortest side is 3/4 the length of the middle side. So the shortest side is equal to 3/4 of the length of the middle side. So that's 3/4 times that length. And then it says find the length of each side of the triangle. So the middle side will be represented by M. So we have the long side, which is 4 inches longer than the shortest side. Then we have the short side, which is 3/4 the length of the middle side. Then we have the middle side, which is equal to M. And all of these added together, since it's perimeter, we know perimeter is when you add up all the sides together. So we know all of this added together is going to be 24. So we have, hopefully I can get this to fit on here. We have s plus 4 plus 3/4 m plus m equals 24. So again, we'll distribute our 1 throughout the parentheses. So we have s plus 4 plus 3/4 m plus m equals 24. And now we will combine like terms. So we have 1s plus 3/4. Oops, sorry, that is not like terms. So we have, hold on, I messed this up, y'all. Hold on. We need all the same variables. Hold on, let me back up. So we need to rewrite this so that we have all the same variables. So it'll make it easier. We can't do it the other way, but it'll make it easier this way. So we have s plus 4, and we know that s is also 3/4 of m. So we can rewrite this as, we can replace s with 3/4 m and still add 4 to it. All right, so we're going to have 3/4 m plus 4 plus 3/4 m plus m equals 24. All right, so now we can rewrite this without the parentheses, while distributing positive 1 throughout these parentheses. So 3/4 m plus 4 plus 3/4 m plus m equals 24. And then we'll combine our like terms. So 3/4 plus 3/4 is going to be 6/4, which is going to be, so 3/4 plus 3/4 is 6/4, plus 1 whole, which will be 4/4 in this example. So that will be 10/4, which is going to be 2 and 2/4, or 2.5. And simplify that. So 10/4 reduces to 2.5. And then we're going to subtract 4. So we have, I'm going to just change it to 2.5. Equals 20. Divide by 2.5. And we're left with m equals 8. So m equals 8. So everywhere we see m, we can substitute that with 8. So instead of, let's do this, so equals 8. So that means the middle side is going to be 8. What was it? Inches, or, yep, 8 inches. Three-fourths times 8 is equal to 8 6. So 6 inches. And so this one was S plus 4. So we can just do 6 plus 4, which is 10 inches. And we can see that that's correct because the longest side, it's got 10, 8, and 6. So the longest one is 10, the middle one is 8, and the shortest one is 6. So that's probably the right answer. I mean, it is, but that's the way you can check your answer. Pay attention to all the elements and make sure it makes sense. So that's how you do that. So we didn't need to do 3/4 times 8 again. We had already did it when we did the shortest out. We knew that it was 6. And we know the original equation was S plus 4. So since we have S, we can just add it 6. We just add the 4 to the 6. So that's how we got 10. All right.